This meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Looks like he's on an island by himself.
The Town of Burlington will be holding the November 20th, 2025 meeting as a hybrid meeting. The governor issued an executive order on March 12th, 2020, authorizing remote meetings under General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and extended to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, including permitting remote meetings and participation until June 30th, 2027.
As always, members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting, but note that while an option for remote attendance is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast. Members of the public with a particular interest in an item on the agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. Those seeking to attend remotely can do so via the following URL, townofburlington.webex.com. Our meeting number is 2347-598-5504, and our meeting password is 1645. You can join the WebEx on your phone at 1-617-315-0704. Members of the public who are looking to participate, please raise your hand in the WebEx, and staff will send you a request to unmute at the appropriate time. The meeting is being broadcast on BCAT, which can be found in Comcast number 6, Astound 15, and Verizon 41. I think RCN is now Astound.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Did not know
Okay.
that. Thank you. Thank you to Jen for keeping us all on top of things. And then all of this will be uploaded to the BCAT government YouTube page.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is public participation. Is there anyone in the audience or online who would like to speak on an item that is not on our agenda tonight? And there is one hand raised. Mr. Palmer, our staff will unmute you and will unmute you.
Roger, there should be a request to unmute on your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am Roger Palmer. I'm representing Qdoba Mexican Eats.
Okay, thank you. We will be getting to Qdoba very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is announcements.
Next week is Thanksgiving, so just a reminder that town offices will close at noon on Wednesday, the 26th, and then they will be closed on Thanksgiving itself on that Thursday, as well as Friday, the 27th and the 28th, and then back open the following Monday for regular business hours. And I also just want to say a quick thank you to our town clerk and all of the election workers who ran a great election this past weekend, as well as all the early voting ahead of time. I think there was a very large voter turnout. I just want to say that they did a great job with kind of everything that's involved with the election process.
Yes, they did. Thank you.
They did.
We do not have any legal notices of interest or non-approvals, but I am looking for a motion to take item 7A out of order for discussion purposes.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Thank you. Item 7A is a public hearing, application for approval of a special permit pursuant to Section 4.2.6.10, restaurants, fast order food and takeout of the zoning bylaws, 43 Middlesex Turnpike. Qdoba Company Restaurants LLC is the applicant. And who is here on behalf of the applicant?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Attorney Mark Vaughn with Reamer Bronstein representing the applicant,
Mark.
Qdoba Mexican Eats. Pleased
Mark.
to be before,
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Really close.
Pleased to be before you
Thank you.
tonight. Mark Vaughn with Reamer Bronstein representing the applicant. Have Roger Palmer, who's on, and I believe also Corey Niederhaus, who is with construction for Qdoba. They are actually based out of New York, so I told them that they probably didn't need to drive for the hearing as long as they could participate remotely. But they're very excited about opportunity to locate at 43 Middlesex Turnpike, which I think the board is obviously familiar with, Middlesex Commons Shopping Center. The space that they're looking to occupy is the space that's been most recently occupied by Eastern Bank, which is on the side of the shopping center, if you would, if you're coming in off of Middlesex Turnpike. So this, thank you, Caleb. The specific space is shown on the screen there. It's between Club Pilates and Five Guys, which is on the left. So there's actually just 4 tenants that are on this side of the building. Pretty ample parking field that's kind of on that side of the building, which would service Qdoba and the other tenants that are there. So they're really just looking to occupy the exact square footage that Eastern Bank had. It's 3,068 square feet to be exact, and they are looking to have interior seating for 36 patrons. So they wanted to keep the seat count to be commensurate with the space in terms of not having a higher parking demand than what the current utilization is. So Qdoba, as I'm sure you all are probably familiar with, and I hope, maybe you've eaten at in the past, but it's a fast casual Mexican restaurant. They're known for customizable burritos, bowls, tacos, quesadillas, and try to really emphasize fresh ingredients and signature items, and they do a combination of dine-in, takeout, and also some catering options as well. So they are obviously familiar with this location, and I think that they would be very excited about the opportunity to locate here. So I know, Roger, if you had anything you wanted to add, or can obviously make them available just for any questions if the board had, but it's their business, I know it's lunch and dinner, but I think at this particular location, probably a little bit more of a lunch crowd, I think, based on my communications with them, maybe like 60% lunch, 40 dinner if they were looking at a split, but so.
Let me know if Mr. Palmer wants.
Roger, anything you'd like to add just about?
No, I think you already expressed our interest in this a great location. And I'm here to answer any questions if you have any questions, or in the board has any questions.
Okay, thank you. Staff, did you want to bring us up to
Yeah.
date on anything in particular?
Yeah, so this is kind of a little bit of a long time coming at this location, that as many of the board members remember, Eden's, who's the property owner, they had come and went through a full rezoning process because this was previously in the retail industrial zone, which didn't permit this type of business. So they went through a rezoning process to put this back in the general business, where this is allowed through special permit with the board. So they went through that full process, got approval from town meeting, so now this is kind of what it's been leading to. Something that you can kind of tell from here that the existing Five Guys, and kind of, if you look at other types of other Qdoba locations, that they sometimes have outdoor seating. And it's something that we expressed to the applicant of saying, if it's possible, that we would, I think, really like to see it in this location. So we were able to kind of work out with them that, with the board's approval, permitting up to 12 outdoor seating, that would be something that they could do, as 2s, 3s, 4s, however they want to configure their tables, but up to 12. That I did check with our traffic safety officer as well about this location. We feel that this is something that would be safe, considering there is a little bit of a grade change. You can tell where the mouse is, the difference between the parking lot and up there on the walkway, as well as the kind of the barrier that's there, that protecting anybody who's sitting outside from a potential vehicle that might be in the area. So that's something that's not included in the 36, but within the parking analysis that they submitted, there's still plenty of parking on site that accommodates those seats, as well as the other current tenant mix. So I think that's it from staff's perspective.
Okay, thank you. Before I turn it over to the board, I have one question. Did the public safety officer take a look at the fencing to make sure it is adequate to protect diners?
Yes, so he looked at this and
It is.
and said,
Okay.
said based off of what he's seeing,
Okay.
that he would feel comfortable, and I think the contingency would be, before it just being placed out there, that having Qdoba submit a plan to both planning as well as the inspector of buildings to make sure that there's still enough access kind of within the space so that other users can still move
Okay.
through.
All right. Are there any board members who have questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, I see the restrooms are here. Are they fully equipped for children and babies, changing tables and things of that? Because they say all gender
Yeah.
restrooms, so is there anything to accommodate, like, babies? Like a changing?
That is a good question, and I actually don't know the answer, but Corey, if you're on, would you be able to answer?
Yeah, I'm here. I can happily be able to answer. Yeah, there will be changing tables in each restroom to accommodate children.
Okay. Okay. And so that fencing, they say that's up there is appropriate, or they have to submit the proper?
For the patio seating?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, so it wasn't, in speaking to planning staff, we didn't include it initially, but after looking more at the setup there and the fact that Five Guys has it, I think it would be something that Qdoba would be interested in providing.
Like, better up. Okay,
and-
now I do see there is a.
Yeah, so Five Guys
The field.
has
Does that help a
some,
little bit? I can.
Yeah, it does. I didn't even see that when I'm saying, what if the car went right through, but there
Yeah.
is a fence?
and certainly, I think if pursuant to the condition in the manner that I think it was drafted, if the building department or planning staff felt after further consultation with police that there needed to be something additional, then so be it. But, I think that what's there, I think has served the site well, considering Five Guys is,
Doing the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of a, probably wouldn't stop a full vehicle, but there's a little bit of a lip you can see between the.
Yeah, I can see
So,
that better than.
and a little extra barrier as well.
Yes.
So what is that? How high is that?
I mean,
Curb height?
I don't know the exact,
Because that's going to be the only stopping a car, because I don't think that fence is going to stop a car, right? If it's high enough, then that should be sufficient, but
I mean, it's hard to tell.
we had a,
Looks
we
like
had a, we
curbing.
had a serious accident down in that plaza a couple of years ago. Somebody drove right into the side, into a person, drove him into the side of the wall. A couple of times we had it down in that plaza, on the other side of the building, but
I mean, it's one of those where this is just a drive aisle here, that there wouldn't be anybody trying to, I mean, there's people only kind of parking over here,
Right.
that it wouldn't be head-in parking.
Well, but not heading parking, but you'd have people heading that direction with a vehicle, right? Is it going to be is it going to, coming out of the parking area?
I think if they're coming out of the parking area, they would be, at least onto this side where I think that where the seating would be well into this area over here versus being in front of the other tenant space.
Caleb, can you move it so that we can see what the grade change is like in front of Five Guys? Because I think it might be rise up a little bit in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
is.
does.
So it's higher in
It's
Five
high.
Five
Right.
Guys. The other end is not, right?
Right.
I think it's just the picture. I think it's the same.
No, I think I remember being there. I
The
think
grade
it's,
is, the grade
there's,
goes up.
it slopes. Yeah.
Grade goes
Yeah.
down, the wall goes up.
So what do we know about the fence? Because from this, it's hard for us to tell by looking at it, but the police officer has reviewed it and said it would stop a car? Okay.
When we went back and forth and I said, if there was to be seating out here, is this something that you would feel comfortable with this? And this is something that they review whenever there's an application before the board, that includes outdoor seating, that they give input, and that he said based off of what he sees there, that he felt comfortable.
Okay.
Can we get that in writing?
Yes, I do have it right.
Oh, you do? So
Okay.
so he's comfortable with not putting bollards there? They're comfortable with the
Correct.
safety of the outdoor seating?
Correct, as is.
And we have that
Yes.
from them in writing?
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
Can I, to Joe's point, the Five Guys, if you look at the property, the Five Guys is actually in front of an island, right? So there, you're not gonna have any
You're right.
perpendicular traffic going into the Five Guys. But here, this is at the end of a roadway, so you could actually have you have the perpendicular traffic that could go right into Qdoba or into the Eastern Bank, the old Eastern Bank, right? So, I mean, that's my comment on it, right? But if the safety folks said it was okay, that's
Right.
just something to be aware of.
I know we've always required bollards in this type of situation, but if they're saying they inspected that fence and that all of that is sufficient and we have that in writing from them, then
I mean, we can also, it's one of those where the way it's written is, a plan would still have to be submitted because we don't have the final layout as far
Right.
as exactly where it is. And that's still, if at the time that it's submitted, it's looked at and determined this isn't going to work, or we need a bollard, we would need a bollard if you want to do the outdoor seating, then we'd require it at that time.
Can I make a suggestion that we put in the decision that when they come to you with that plan, they should include at least 2 planters that are bollards? Because that's not difficult or expensive. Do you think your client would be amenable to that?
Yeah, I'm not sure it would be planters necessarily, just
Okay.
because I think there is some, it's also an accessible sidewalk there, so I want to
Oh,
make sure there's
yeah.
enough room
Yeah.
for folks to get by. But
Right.
I think
Okay.
if you want to
Something.
put into it that police further review to confirm that, there's appropriate, I don't think it's a big deal if we had to put a couple of bollards out
Yeah.
near there. But I
it
don't
wouldn't
know
be.
for sure that they could be the planter style, because they might
Okay.
take up too much room.
I
But
think, I said planters because I think it would look nice
Yeah,
for your customers, but bollards are the most important thing. That's what we're looking for, safety mainly.
sure.
So we could have that included
Yep.
in the plan that they submit to you for the table layout. Does that make you feel more comfortable, Joe? And
Yeah,
Greg?
I mean,
Yeah,
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
great, okay. Anyone else?
yeah, okay, I've got.
Yes.
This is entirely to do with parking,
Okay.
all right? What percentage of the business is app-based? And, we've had this discussion in the past, the last few restaurants that have come in here, we've wanted to get specific signage for the app drivers so that they're not getting in the way, right? Because if you've got them queued in front of the restaurant on that main driveway, then that's going to create, of an issue. So I'm curious to know what the percentage is app-based, right? That's number one. And then number two, for this board, just as for future reference, I think we really need to sit down and take a look at the parking requirements for restaurants in town. Specifically, it's one parking space, or what is it,
One space for every 3 seats.
for every 3 seats. And I'm not sure it needs to change, but now that the restaurants are doing, a lot of them are doing more than half of their business with the mobile applications. So I really think we need to sit down and take a look. Do we move that number up? Do we move that number down? I don't know the answer, but I think it needs to be looked at. That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, no, I understand,
This is just
yeah,
for the
yeah.
board
Or
going forward.
consider as part of those parking spaces, a couple of them
Yes, for short-term
for
parking.
short-term
Yeah.
parking.
Yeah.
And so I deal with ride-up drivers all the time at work. And so you really have to, something to talk about, but creating a queuing space because you want them to pull in straight and leave straight. You don't want them backing out and turning around because they're moving fast and they're focused on other things. So it's a whole different type of flow. But it's something I agree we definitely need to look at.
So am I correct in understanding you, Jeremy, that you would not recommend just a couple of spaces that are for short-term
A
parking?
couple of, I think in this case, I think it's something we need to talk about and come up with a
Okay.
plan for. I
Okay.
don't think it's appropriate to hold them to us not having a plan for it at this
Yeah,
moment.
okay. Fair.
So, my understanding, I'm going to let Roger answer just on the percentage, but from my own experience with Qdoba and from talking to my client previously, I don't think that they're as takeout dependent necessarily or app-based as people want to choose their own ingredients when they're there. You're kind of going through and say, well, put some of that on, put some of this on. But, so I don't, but Roger, do you want to, or Corey, maybe address that?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Qdoba offer the option of placing an order on the app. I'll say that's about 25 to 28% of the business. It's an app. Some of them, the person is going to stop and eat in the dining room. Some of them, the person is going to pick up. But as also part of this, it's the third party, which is DoorDash or Uber Eats. But I don't think it's anything that higher than 28-30% of the business.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Did you have more, Greg?
No,
No?
that was it.
Anyone else?
I have one.
Yes?
I am curious, as it relates to outdoor seating, what the seating will look like. And if we'll be able to view that before everything's final. Like,
The way
we're
it's
talking like
written,
metal seats?
Staff would be reviewing it.
Okay.
The way it's
And-
written.
And so with the plan, staff will also get like what the actual seating, not just like layout, but like
The
type of seating
materials,
looks like
I don't know.
So we usually don't because we don't have design review for
Okay.
this area of
Yeah.
town. In other areas, we definitely would, but
But not
not in
here.
this particular.
But we can say that also, we should probably state, with umbrellas, no advertising.
Yes,
already
all
in.
that
And
standard
already
stuff
in
is in
draft.
They already know that there's no temporary signage, right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be some form of weather-resistant, seating. I don't know if it's a metal or something like that, but not something that's unattractive or, cheap-looking, but,
So actually, that brings up another question. Will the seating be out there all year?
I don't, Corey, Roger, maybe you can explain, but my understanding
No.
would just be seasonal, correct?
Yeah, correct. We would pull it during the winter.
Okay. Thank you.
That's good.
All right. Is this a public hearing? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience or online who wants to comment on this matter? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing no one, I am ready for a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing on this matter.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 6-0.
Motion to approve the request of Qdoba Company Restaurants LLC for a special permit pursuant to section 4.2.6.10 restaurants fast order food and takeout of the zoning bylaws to permit a fast casual restaurant in existing tenant spaces for property located in the general business BG district as well as the Aquacore A overlay district at 43 Middlesex Turnpike, subject to the terms and conditions contained in Exhibit A and attached.
As amended.
As amended.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 6-0. Welcome to Burlington. When do you think you'll open?
Corey, any
I
timeline?
think we're going to be targeting April or May, I believe, will be the timeline.
Great, thank you.
Right. Thank you all for your
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Now we're going to go back to our regular
Thanksgiving,
agenda.
too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. We have an administrative matter, item 6A, is a discussion of zoning bylaw text amendment setback clarification submitted by the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee.
I can share it.
Who is here on behalf of this item? Hi. Can we unmute Betsy?
Yeah, there we go. She's unmuted now.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you very much. This zoning article is really more a clarification, maybe a step up from a housekeeping article, which I believe I mentioned at a prior meeting. What we're doing is we are actually creating a definition for setback. There is no, currently, if you go to the zoning bylaws, you have a definition for self-storage, and then it jumps to short-term rental, and there's nothing for setback, even though setback is a term that is important in the zoning world. So we added a definition, which we worked on as a committee. We used the Planner's Dictionary for a lot of our definitions and reviewed it with the new inspector of buildings, and they're totally in line with it, and are supporting this article. Additionally, we added, as you can see here, in the dimensional requirements, we're adding the word setback after yard, and we also have added it in the use table, which I believe is on the next page, where we're not changing any of the requirements. We're just adding the word setback for clarification purposes and to make sure that it's clearer about what you're talking about. If you look at the minimum front yard setback in the RO, it's 25 feet, for example. And then because we were doing that, we went through all the zoning bylaws to see where we needed to add the word setback in when we're talking about it, and found that there were a couple of other places. So we have added setback in section 6 and section 10. Again, it's kind of a housekeeping, other than adding the definition, which is something that was missing, and we did for clarification, as ZBRC's mission is to do.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Betsy. Staff, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think that this is actually very helpful.
Right.
Right now, when you're talking about setbacks, the bylaw just refers to yard, and it could mean the whole backyard or the whole, so this is, I think, helpful. I know that Marty has said that this would definitely be helpful for him. I think it's helpful for me too, and it's
Okay.
going to be helpful for when we're trying to explain things to the public.
Great.
Who are coming, so.
Okay.
yeah.
So for the board members and for the public, we are not going to vote on this tonight because it's listed as an administrative matter. It will come before us on December 4th as a public hearing. But, we should probably just get our questions out tonight if we can, so that we can move things along quickly on December 4th. Do any planning board members have questions?
I don't.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it basically just adds the word,
right,
like in other words, instead of side yard, it's
right. Setback.
side yard setback.
Yeah.
Right.
It's, so it's just basically, it's
Right.
almost like a word that should have been there all the time. and it just never was.
Exactly,
So-
it's a good clarification.
100%.
Okay. All right, while this is not a public hearing, is there anyone here online that wishes to speak on this matter before we move on?
I see no hands raised.
Okay,
Motion to continue this matter to public hearing at the planning board meeting of December 4th, 2025.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 6-0. Thank you. So So item 6B is a discussion, zoning bylaw text amendment, animal-related uses, submitted by the planning board. And I believe our staff will be presenting on this, correct?
Yes. So again, this is kind of more of a clarification situation, or kind of actually going back to what we had kind of been this way in the past. So during the time when we did a lot of the modernization items in the zoning bylaw and modernizing the definitions, we added a bunch of definitions for very specific animal-related uses and under animal services. And those animal services, those underlying definitions, didn't necessarily fully align with what was in the use table. So is it a kennel? Can you do a kennel with a grooming? Can you do, So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it clearer for the building inspector to make determinations, and for us, when a business comes, we can say, here's the deal, here's what it is. So we consolidated a lot of these definitions into commercial keeping of animals. So if you have, if you are raising farm animals, or you are doing a doggy daycare, or kind of an overnight kennel, this is what you would get a special permit for. If you are a vet, or you're training or grooming, you would get a commercial care of animals. And so this is very much related to the commercial sections of town and commercial uses. So as you can see in the updated use table, it used to be this, we're just calling it commercial keeping of animals. I've not changed anything in any zoning district. It was a special permit in the mixed district before, it's a special permit now. Same thing for commercial care of animals. That has not changed. Actually, these should not be underlined and bolded because we are not changing them. So these are not actually changed from what is in the actual bylaw. So that's essentially what this is, to kind of clarify things. There's gray areas, and we just wanted to keep it easy. One of the things, we had a really great conversation with the ZBRC last Wednesday, Betsy, I want to say. And one of the concerns that they had was, there are a lot of people in town that have animals, and they have, friends or acquaintances watch them during the day, or they do overnight with, a friend's neighbor around the corner, and she just does this on the side to help out people. And that the intention of this is not to interfere with any of that. This is for commercial enterprises. Real businesses, not kind of small,
Not neighborly
activities, I guess, is a nicer way of saying it. Yeah. So I've reached out to the Board of Health. They don't really have any concerns with that. They don't regulate that. I'm kind of been playing phone tag with our animal control officer. Okay. So I do want to kind of reach out to her to make sure that there aren't any state laws or state regulations that we should be aware of. But other than that, that's kind of all I have, so open to questions.
Okay. Yes.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Number one.
Sure.
Is on the commercial keeping of animals. Mm-hmm. You've got birds, fish, and animals.
What is it supposed to be?
Well, I think you ought to make it birds, fish, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals.
Mammals.
It's a dog. So this is
mammals are.
This is the
animals.
Yeah, I know that.
You think it's redundant?
No, I just think, you're being unfair to the amphibians and the reptiles. Seriously, you're separating out the birds, you're separating out the fish. You should separate out the other three, just from a consistency standpoint.
I will take it. This is the language that was previously in the bylaw. So I'm taking previously used language, but I will take that note. I will take it.
That's fine.
Would animals be more all-inclusive?
Or you could just have animals,
Yeah. 'cause
right? It's either animals,
Because a bird is an
Animals
animal,
is in
right?
they're all
They're
animals.
all animals.
So it's
could
either
just get rid of the
animals or
birds
it's all
or animals.
Yeah.
five, right?
Plants or animals.
I think
So it's
all-
animals.
Yeah.
I think you don't have to get.
And then my second thing is. All right, so going back to the neighborly kind of stuff. And I'm perfectly fine with that, right? The problem that I see is where's the tipping point when it stops going from doing it for the neighbors to you're getting dogs in from out of town and you're charging money to sit them for the weekend? What's that tipping point?
So this is kind of I think we were getting at the ZBRC meeting. So right now, if you are, dog sitting, two of your neighbor's dogs, the building inspector would consider that a home occupation under the use table. Because you don't really have a sign, it's not causing additional super amounts of heavy traffic in the area. So that's generally what it has been considered in the past. But again, I want to speak to our animal control officer at the police department to kind of see where she feels about that. She is coming from Cambridge, so I would imagine that she would have a lot of experience about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I that is TBD, but excellent question. You hit the nail on the head, yes.
Okay. Any-
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I had some feedback last time on the patients recovering from medical procedures and how in the case of like my dog that likes to eat raisins, he necessarily didn't have a medical procedure, but he had to stay overnight for observance. So I think allowing for overnight beyond just procedures.
Oh, okay.
So for like medical observances, I don't know. I'm not a
Short-term
copywriter.
medical overnight stays.
Basically like
Yeah.
deemed by the vet that they
Yeah.
need overnight care.
Observation.
Yeah, observation.
Okay.
Okay, helpful.
Whatever
Along the
copy would
same
be.
lines, if you're a vet, because I know some vets actually have a small kennel where they have, people can leave their dog or something when they go on vacation, would they have to get both special permits? Okay.
Yeah, but we do those together.
understand, yes.
So if
That's-
you're going to
I think that's the appropriate answer.
We also,
They would have to
I mean,
get
for
both.
all applicants, we also generally say, if there are other things you want to do,
Yeah, speak
permit
now.
them now. Permit them now.
Okay.
Right.
Anyone else have questions on this? No? Okay. This is just like the previous item. We are not going to vote on this tonight. There'll be a meeting when it opens as a public meeting on December 4th. But in the meantime, is there anyone online who would like to speak on this matter? Betsy?
Thank you, Barbara. I just want to clarify that when CBRC was talking about this, we felt that the way it was written was not clear, that there's a cottage industry of people who do take care of animals for pets, dogs primarily, kind of a cottage industry. And it's not for their neighbors. I mean, it could be their neighbors, but the intent is not for neighbors, but it's, maybe they have 3 dogs or 4 dogs or something, and they're definitely spending the night. The people are definitely being paid, but it's not a kennel, not even close to being a kennel, and that Liz had talked about home occupation, but that's not defined anywhere, nor are any of the parameters around it. So we found that this article as written was not sufficient, and there'd be some unintended consequences of that we're concerned about. And we thought the language needed to be more specific on it. And so that was the input from CBRC on this. And so we didn't feel it was written in a way that was as clear as it needs to be.
Betsy, this is Barbara.
Yeah.
2 questions. I'm not sure if it's that the language that we have is not sufficient. It's almost like, from what you're saying, that we need something else separate from this that would define home occupations, which may include people who, say, work for Rover or something like that, or Care.com, and take care of people's animals from their home. I don't,
Right, and some of them are not, I mean, some of them are community people, word of mouth, you know, they'll take care of
Right.
3 dogs for people so they can go to work. It's, you know,
Right.
doggy daycare, really small scale, it's not a kennel.
Right.
And I think because there was a consolidation of the way this is being written now, you know, with the 2 kind of commercial keeping of animals and care of animals, these are small commercial enterprises, but it's not defined as to whether they're exempt from this. In the building, and so that's where we felt there needs to be some place, if you're going to be talking about this, there needs to be some place where the, if there is a home occupation category, then we need to address that, because otherwise, one might think if one had one of these smaller businesses where they are making money on it and stuff like that, that they need to file, that they would qualify as a commercial kennel, and I doubt they would do it, so then they'd be violating, they're gonna, you know, the perception would be, well, we're violating the zoning laws, and we don't want that either. So I think that is kind of just by redoing it the way it's doing, it's kind of bringing up a hole in the process, and maybe it's always been there, but if we're gonna redo it, let's fix it.
so did the ZBRC have a suggestion as to how they would like to amend this to address that?
The ZBRC gave Liz a lot of feedback on that, yes.
Okay, I see these as very, I could be mistaken, I see these as very different things, the
That's how I see
commercial
it as well.
business versus the home
I
occupation
agree.
business. Is there anything anywhere in our bylaw about home occupations? Because we have a lot of those. We have people that do hairdressing and piano lessons and taking care of dogs apparently out
Yeah,
of their homes.
if you're at home,
Babysitting kids overnight.
Yeah, do we
House
have anything in our bylaw that addresses home occupation?
yes, there's a definition.
Yep, section 10.1 of the bylaw for home occupations, and I think, I'm looking at it right now, that the part that I think would, when we're talking about that, kind of the trigger of, you know, just kind of your neighborhood business
Right.
to a full-on commercial, section D of that portion of the bylaw is no traffic shall be generated by an occupation in greater volumes than would than would normally be expected in a residential neighborhood. So I think that's kind of, you know, the commercial side where
The trigger.
people are coming in and they're parking on the street and they're taking up a lot of the roadway, and there's a lot more people coming in and out versus it's 1 or 2 people who could be stopping by to have a dinner with somebody anyways.
And in that bylaw, we do not define specific home occupations, correct?
No.
No.
Okay, so this would be like someone
would fall.
who
It's like
does piano lessons out of their house.
I mean, I know this, like a cottage industry. It's
Yes,
like you
right.
quilt out of your house and you sell your quilts,
Yes,
you know?
yeah, okay.
So, again, I do, I understand where the ZBRC is coming from, and I do want to get clarification from our animal control officer. This is also, what I'm actually doing is reverting the bylaw back to what it was before.
Right, I understand. So I feel comfortable with that, but I agree with you, you need to check with the what they call them, animal control officer. How does the rest of the board feel about this? Do you have concerns? Yes,
Well, I
Frank.
just have 2 comments on that.
Yep.
One is, you know, we've talked about all the cottage industries, right? Well, building a quilt is not the same thing as having 6 extra dogs in your house. Because if they get away, right, they may bite somebody, right? And so I'm not saying, I mean, I'm okay with not okay with them biting people.
There are-
But I am okay with the whole concept of it. But to your point about the cottage industries, what percentage of businesses start in people's homes, then they expand and grow to now they're a full-on commercial business. And so the only thing that I would be looking for in this is what's the break point? Where's that tipping point where it goes from a cottage industry built in your house that all of a sudden, well, wait a minute, you go from doing 3 dogs on a weekend to now you got 33 dogs on a weekend.
But wouldn't there be a lot of traffic like?
There is, but also,
it would
we have a
raise-
rule about how many dogs a person can have.
Yeah.
There's some.
There is. There
Yeah, I
is.
think it's,
Is that general?
They have it in the gym.
I think there is, and I think, I could be
It
wrong,
is.
but I think the number is 5 or 6, and you can't have any more than that, or you're a kennel. Or you have.
Where is that?
I'm not, I can't, don't quote me, I'd have to look for it, but I think there's something in the bylaw, probably general bylaw,
In the
about how
bylaws?
many dogs you're allowed to own or have in your home. I don't know I don't know the language, Betsy, but we're not voting on this tonight, so we have time to look into that before December 4th and see if
Okay.
that there's some coverage there.
That would be great. That would be great. And we're talking about this at our next meeting following your meeting on December 4th.
Great. So we do have a little bit to do before December 4th. Do other
Yeah.
members have anything else they want to have staff look into on this before December 4th?
I think defining that inflection point's important.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Otherwise, no question.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else online that wanted to speak on this matter? No? Okay.
Motion to continue this matter to a public hearing at the planning board meeting of December 4th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 6-0. Thank you. All right. Next is item 6C, a discussion, Burlington Signage District's Design Guidelines, Town Center Signage District, submitted by the Town Center Signage Committee and the Zoning Bylaw Review Committee. I believe staff is going to present, but I do want to take just a moment and quickly thank everyone involved in this because it was so much work and it's very well done. I'm very pleased with it, and I'm looking forward to taking this particular bylaw and tweaking it and spreading it all the way across town, because I think it's very well done, and I think it will really serve the businesses in town very well if we can make all of these signage things easier and clearer and faster and less expensive. So, well done, everyone, and staff, please go ahead.
Sure. So this has been a really, a long process, but I think a really good and valuable process. We kind of, the ZBRC passed this new, they passed, sign districts, and the first district they chose was the town center. So we are, well, I'm asking you guys to adopt
Yes.
the signage district design guides, and specifically the town center design sign design guidelines. And so this was initially the work of a consultant, I think Tool Design Group, is that correct, Betsy?
Yeah, it was Util worked with Sherry Ellis and myself.
Yep.
And Sally Lord.
Yep. And so from there, we had meetings with various members of our board and the chamber, ZBRC, Sally and Betsy came and Sherry came.
Zoning Board of Appeals.
And Board of Appeals members came. We had Marty, who's Inspector of Buildings, and Mike Murray Jr., who is a property owner in the area. And we kind of went through and kind of discussed, hashed it out. And the final document is what you guys were provided with on Tuesday. And so it goes through, the approval process, what you need to do. Then it goes into each allowed sign type, and then kind of where those signs can be on each building. So I kind of gave you guys a cheat sheet, and from the planning board, 90% of this is with the building department. The planning board's purview in this document is really, first of all, when we get new buildings, brand new buildings, or if a property owner is changing the signs, I think it's about a cost of a modification would exceed 35% of the replacement cost. The planning board needs to do a review. They need to comply
Yeah.
with this, but then also the planning board, when a new building comes in, the planning board would review the sign design, the overall sign design for the entire building. So that is kind of your purview for that section. The other section is, there's a special permit that you guys are allowed to give if the architecture of a specific building is not conducive to one of the sign types that's in here. So when we have those Cape buildings downtown center, and they have huge roof lines, but you can't put a roof sign on.
Right.
This would be an instance where you would say, hey, this is my architecture, and then you guys would be able to say, hey, okay, this works,
Yes
or
or no.
no, this doesn't.
Yeah.
So just some design principles and standards. What I thought was really cool is UTL broke it down into 4 different sign types. So high-speed signs, so bigger signs, so you're talking pole signs, monument signs, directory signs, low-speed signs, so for parking lots, so flat signs and awning canopy signs, and then pedestrian signs, so blade signs and window signs, and then temporary signs. And so they broke it down into those categories for each type of sign and where those could be. And then there was quantity and area of the signs. So we don't allow neon signs or any exposed lighting or exposed bulbs. We don't want internally lit boxes, so kind of a lot of the things that has been talked about in the past with the town center. We don't want roof-mounted signs. They have to be stationary, no audio components.
No changing lights.
Not changing lights. And then, so, you can be externally illuminated, gooseneck style, or internally illuminated using a reverse halo effect, which there's a image of that in the design bylaw, in the design guide. You can't use your sign you can't glare into cars, you have to be shielded. And then allowable illumination is 90 lumens, and I feel like that comes from the Board of Appeals.
I think it does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And then there's material, so, it has to be high quality. So after all that, since this is the first of its kind in town, and so this is a guideline. These are not fully enforceable. What these are meant for is we, as in the planning department and the building department, get calls from sign companies all the time saying, hey, what are your sign regulations? What can I do? What can't I do? So beyond giving them the information about the bylaw, we would also hand them this document to say, hey, review this. This is really what we're looking for. Here's a guide.
Yes.
And so that's really what this is. And, it also is good because it's a guideline, it's a reg that you guys are adopting. So if there's something needs to change,
We can change it whenever we want.
you guys can change it.
Okay.
With that,
Okay.
I think.
So I know we've been talking about this for a long time. We've seen this before in other iterations. I hope everybody has had time to review it. Do any board members have specific questions? This is shocking to me. No one?
No,
Okay.
little quick clarity.
Jeremy, please, go ahead.
Did you say zoning board of appeals was part of this iteration?
Yes, so we did, made sure that, actually it was Jeff DeBona, so the chair was involved in the discussion, and it was so helpful to have him there, to have Rick Parker there from the chamber, just thinking of, it was a really great team, so that when I look at it from a permitting perspective, but I don't look at it from, oh, well, how would a new business owner read that, right? How would they interpret it? And so that's where it was really helpful to have that core crew.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Greg?
So I just have a couple of questions on this.
Yes.
One is, a sign for a business, it's not like an employee, it never calls in sick, right? It's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people do put pride in their signs, and they want to make sure they have good signs. With this, the externally illuminated ones with the goosenecks never seem to work well, and the cost difference between the internally illuminated separate letters and the box sign is astronomical. So to your point of, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the internally illuminated box signs because they will help, like we just talked about, going from your cottage industry to your first business, the exponential cost increase of a channel of internally lettered sign is tremendous compared to the box sign. That's number one.
This is only for town center, though, you know?
No, I
Okay,
understand that.
Okay.
And number two is, if you're going to have to use, how do I say this? If the break point is 35% the cost of replacement in order for you to have to come up to the new guidelines, then if you currently have a box sign, you could replace the whole thing and you'll never come up to the 35% break point for the single letter signs. So the
You're
single.
replacing it. If
But-
you're replacing it with something else, whatever you're replacing it with,
But-
that's the cost, 35% of the cost.
35%.
So I have a box sign and it's internally lit.
Yeah.
And I want a new box sign. You know, let's come up with silly numbers. You know, my new box sign is going to cost $100 and so it's 30% of
Okay.
that cost.
But
is
think that through for a second. If I've got a $1,000 box sign and I need to, and I'm going to spend $1,000 to replace it,
Right,
then I have to go to the new standards.
right.
Which now I'm going to have to spend $20,000 on a Whole Food sign, which I don't think
Yes.
will happen. And so what.
So they'll just keep the box sign.
They'll
you're
keep
saying.
the box
Yeah.
sign and they
They
won't,
might.
and it will deteriorate over time and they'll just do, bubble gum and scotch tape keeping it going because they're not going to want to spend that amount of money.
Do we have a lot of internally lit box signs in the town center?
There are
There are a few.
There are a few, and this
Yeah.
was part of the discussion with when the ZBRC was doing the sign bylaw, and so this is, I think, these are design guidelines, but I think that the gooseneck light, like all those requirements are already in the bylaw that town meeting passed. So this is expounding upon that and giving a little bit more context and detail, but I think that those are already requirements in the current zoning bylaw.
Because if you don't do that, then you're going to have a proliferation of internally lit box signs because they are so much less expensive. I personally would not be in favor of that.
And this is coming, so this is in the town center. So
Right.
one of the reasons why this was done this way is because the vision for the town center is to kind of have a cohesive design and style and kind of be a little bit more elevated. Joe, maybe, I don't know if you want to, that was
I mean,
the,
it's, you're trying to get some uniformity, you're trying to get some,
yeah.
some colonial character, you're
Trying to
trying to get
class it
some. Yeah, you're trying to make it distinguish the
Trying to place
center of
me.
your town. And
Yeah.
have it, I mean, have it a place where people want to be and want to shop and want to spend time, and, I mean, those are things that are, making it appealing, right? I mean, it's like the Building 19 site, and when they wanted, 3-foot sidewalks, no one's gonna get out and walk around on the sidewalks, right? If you expand the sidewalks, it's gonna be more walkable, it's gonna be more inviting for people to come down, so I think, you try to make it a little more quaint, and, I mean, there's other ways you can do it, right? You can make it part of a general bylaw, and then you can mandate that it changes over time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was-
You think that was,
And I think that 35% was, it was talked about. It was hard. And I don't know if Betsy has any further kind of background on it, if she can kind of expound upon why the 35 and how, that came to be.
Actually, there's a lot. At the time, we were working with Mike Murray and Rick Parker when we were actually creating this bylaw. The initial recommendation from the consultant was 10%, 10%. And that was based on what a number of other towns did. We felt that was too onerous. even for just doing town center. So we came up with a kind of a compromise number of 35%. The other thing I just wanted to reiterate is that the objective here for the town center, again, only for the town center, is we're trying to upgrade the appearance. And we had even some of the businesses down in that plaza, which I guess people call Murray Plaza, where True North is, one of the business owners in that plaza was really wanted that whole area upgraded in its appearance. So surprisingly, that individual was, as a business owner, was really applauding our getting rid of the box signs and having things look better because he felt that it was going to draw a better clientele. And the other thing I wanted to comment on that Liz said that I just want to underline is that these are guidelines. And over time, you're going to see what the impact is through people coming in with signs and what's working, what's not working, and we'll have the opportunity to tweak it before they become rules and regulations, which I know you have for most everything else. And this way, you can modify things if it turns out that the cost of the box sign is too great for those town center businesses. Then maybe we come up with another option at that time. But the thought was going into it that this would, for this part of town, that these were appropriate limitations and specifications.
Thank you, Betsy. Okay, so this is something we were going to vote on tonight. Do any other members have concerns about the box signs?
Not the box sign, but
Okay.
I think the 24-inch maximum letter height is pretty unrealistic. 24 inches is pretty small for a letter height when you think about potential size of a building facade.
What page are you on?
It's 14, letter height. The maximum letter height is 24 inches.
What?
Feels pretty small.
Letter height for what?
Not at that proximity, it's not. I mean, if it was on the side of a building, on the side.
If I think about like CVS or even Shaw's, there's no way the letter in Shaw's is 24 inches. Even CVS.
What sign type is that referencing on page 14?
General sign design guidelines.
Okay.
I don't think we have any,
4F. 4.2.1.1F.
Yes, it's just.
right, is Shaw's, so Liz, if Shaw's were to be built right now, could it be built?
I don't think so.
No, it's too
Sign.
big, right?
The sign
Or would
is,
the sign go for,
Well, I'm talking about
you mean
size-wise.
the building could.
The building, so
Put there, yeah.
it's, these signs have to be in
Relation to the building.
relation to the building.
Okay,
They
so
have to be
CVS.
proportionate.
The S in the CVS is not 24 inches.
Well, I mean, but nobody says that it has to be that big either. It's right on the street, right? I mean, so you think if CVS's sign were smaller, nobody would know it was CVS? I mean, so it becomes there's a compromise here somewhere, right? So I know this was the big problem when we were doing the sign bylaw years ago, is that, we had a lot of people from the businesses, and they want the biggest sign
course.
they can possibly get, and the people in the town want the smallest sign they can possibly get. So there's a compromise somewhere. Would CVS, if they were forced to go with a smaller sign, would nobody know CVS was there? I don't think so. I mean, I think
Well, no.
they'd do just fine the
Well,
same
you
way
can
they
see,
would.
like, the CVS in Lexington has a much smaller sign.
Exactly. The thing is, you go into these
And I
other
know
towns.
where it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We go into these other towns. I mean, you get on the Cape, you see Dunkin' Donuts down there, it's like, this doesn't even look like the same animal as the Dunkin' Donuts in Burlington. They're beautiful. And it's because the towns made them that way.
They demand it.
They demand it. And that's the problem with us. We don't demand, so we don't get. And that's, over time, that's how you either make your town better or you don't make your town better. So, again, I don't think, we don't need to give them a sign bigger than it's going to be necessary to make the business survive, but they're not going to not survive because the sign is, the letters are 2 feet versus 4 feet. I don't buy that argument, and I think, we need to be, again, we need to be representing the people in town because we live here and we deal with it and we pay taxes in here, and I think, we should be demanding better of some of these things, and especially in our downtown. If you go into the downtowns these days, you know, the more sophisticated, the better towns are demanding better product, so.
And I do think it's important for us to remember that these are guidelines, and they are our guidelines. We can change them. If we find that this is an issue, and we're hearing from businesses that this is detrimental to their business, we can revisit the issue. It's not something that has to, it just can be decided by this board.
Well, that's why, I guess my point is, why do we have to start at the gate? There's a maximum letter height when, if we believe proportionally the buildings will be smaller if they get rebuilt, and therefore proportionately the sign shouldn't be an issue. I don't know then why we'd have to start out the gate saying you have to work with 24 inches.
To have a
In my
starting
opinion.
point, maybe, just for a starting
Well-
point, no?
I think it's important also to realize that these are guidelines. We do have regulations, and so if somebody does want something bigger, it gets rejected, and it goes to the zoning board of appeals, who then has a say about, is it proportionally correct to the building, considering those circumstances.
Right.
So I sat on that board for a few years, and, you know, we did go through things like that, where a business wanted signs that were taller, wider, longer, bigger than they were allowed, and we approved it if it was proportional for the building. You know, the measuring stick was always kind of, nobody was really happy with the urgent care over by Shaw's.
Yes.
Right, and that's what happens if it's-
Right, that was a little-
if there's not enough restrictions or something slips through. So
Yeah.
if you're more restrictive up front, you can use the appeals process to find something that's proportional to the building and the business.
Yes, it is important, thank you, Jeremy, to note that there is an appeal process. So if it didn't work for you at 24 inches, there's a recourse.
And just to plant something in the minds of, you know, the fellow board members here, we sat there with that urgent care center, and they told us how there was absolutely impossible, they couldn't give us anything but a metal roof. That exact same urgent care is down in Falmouth, and it has a architectural
Roofing material.
roof, yeah. So it's day and night. But they sat here and told us, absolutely not, we absolutely cannot, that's our signature, and that's how we're going to do it, and this is how it is. When they go to a town that demands more, they give more.
Right.
You know, Dunkin' Donuts, same way. You go into Lexington, look, they got a brick Dunkin' Donuts with a gold and black sign, like gorgeous. All right? Because they demand more. And that's, you know, I think we need to understand that, you know, we can't be selling our town short, because in the long run, it's just gonna, it will have an overall bad effect on the town.
I don't know if I could speak. Can I
Yes, go ahead.
add something? Okay. You know, a certain amount of this is aspirational. We have a vision that we've articulated for our downtown area, and we want to create a downtown area. And part of that is to make it so it doesn't look like a strip mall. And what this is, a lot of this is driving at, and what the consultants at UTIL helped us do, is if we want a downtown area that is downtown, and we want it, and signage is a good way to foster that, they had, you know, recommended to us a number of things, and I think this be one of them, where if everybody starts doing the stuff that we have in here, our downtown area will actually fit the vision that we have for it. And again, it's somewhat aspirational. It won't happen until people start moving in this direction, and they will in that downtown area. Will it work in other parts of Burlington? Probably not, but it should work down there if we give it a chance. And I think the only thing that I'd like to ask the planning board to do, because these are guidelines and they can change, and there's the ZBA there as a backup, I just ask that you approve these. The zoning bylaw was approved last January. We need these guidelines passed so that people have an idea of what we're looking for. In the absence of that, then people are going to kind of make up their own things. So I just asked, I'm putting in a commercial to please pass this, and then if we need to modify later, we can. But this is like 98% 8% there, I think. And I just would like it to be in force, and Liz could use it, and businesses could start using it, so.
Thank you, Betsy. Do any other members have any other questions or concerns they want to bring forward before we vote? No. Okay. I am ready for a motion, whoever wants to make one.
Motion to adopt the Burlington Signage District's design guidelines for the town center signage district.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Were you an aye?
No, I voted in favor.
Okay, so that's 5-1, correct? Mm-hmm. All right, did I get everybody? All right, thank you. Thank you, Betsy. All right, next on our agenda is minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes. I hope, have everyone had a chance to review them? Yes?
I will have to abstain from September 25th because I was not present.
Okay, then we will take them individually. Is that the one that no, I already abstained from mine. Okay. So may I have a motion specifically for September 25th?
So moved.
I wasn't, I haven't had
Second.
time to review them.
Okay, all those in favor, aye,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed, and abstain?
Abstain.
2 abstentions, so we have 402.
That's fine, as long as we have a simple majority.
Yes, 402. I think can we take B and C together?
I actually wasn't here for
Okay.
October 16th, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll, I'm looking for a motion then to accept the minutes for October 2nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
So we have 2 abstentions,
No,
4-0.
I said aye.
Oh, sorry, 501.
It's the next one I
Okay.
can't.
And then I'm further looking for a motion to accept the minutes for October 16th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. So 2 abstentions on that one, 402. Thank you. Next, we have a few discussion items, and the first one is our 2026 meeting deadline schedule. I hope everyone's had a chance to review it. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
I can put it up on the screen right now as a
Okay.
final reminder.
Thank you. by the
And
way.
and once we approve this,
I know.
you've signed in blood, you have to be there at every single meeting.
Yeah, and I think we discussed this last time, that following the typical first and third
Yes.
Thursdays with, exceptions for holidays, I think some vacation weeks, and then summer schedule. So, following our typical schedule, and as we say at the beginning of every meeting, that the hybrid meeting law has been extended through
Yes.
2027, so we will
That helps.
continue to have everything hybrid.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to adopt the 2026 Planning Board meeting and submission deadline schedule as printed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 6-0. Thank you. Next,
Bless you.
That's it.
let's see, next item for discussion is the Mixed District Permitting and Design Guidelines update. Liz and Jess and I, as well as other members of the committee, have been working on this. Liz is going to give us an update. From my perspective, what I would tell the board is that I think that the consulting we're working on is doing very high-quality work, moving a little slower than we would like, but it's heading in the right direction, and we're trying to wrap it up by year's end. Liz, take it away.
Sure, yes. So I had a meeting with our consultant today. I echo Barbara's sentiments. The 3 of us did have a great meeting, kind of went through, we have comments from the consultants in a PDF. We went through kind of their comments, and we're going to respond to them in a PDF. But I did say that we kind of need to move this along. I did say that I definitely want to be able to make an update at our next town meeting on this subject. And so they're aware, they understand it's kind of like, I feel like we're almost at an impasse, but there's no real impasse. So we just need to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit quicker.
Okay.
They are going to look at formatting. Right now, we only have a PDF of it. They might need to do some
Yes,
of their own
yes. Okay.
magic on that, but that's where we are at. And so once we get it to the point where we as professional staff and then the subcommittee members are kind of, where we think it's at a point to share, we will share it with the board members, but then also we'll also be setting up kind of a review committee with, economic development and Chamber of Commerce and property owners to make sure that everybody understands and can have some input on what
It's
this
going to
is.
be a long process, but I think it's really important, and we're chipping away.
Exactly, Barbara.
The main goal, as all of you, I think, know, is the document we started out with was extremely cumbersome. It was over 120 pages. Our main goal is to streamline it, to make it really easy for businesses to understand what they need to do and what options are available to them. So that's the painful part, is trying to streamline it down to something a little more manageable.
Yep.
So, next is the Mall Road Mobility Plan update. I think our next thing was we were going to try and schedule a joint meeting, right?
Correct. So I have reached out to Patrick in the town administrator's office to kind of figure out, have that kind of, it will be a meeting, but just kind of have a discussion session about.
Right. This would not be a televised meeting. This would probably be a kind of a hands-on working meeting.
Just kind of get people's feelings about it, understanding. We are expecting a few small tweaks to it from the consultants. I think one of the things that they heard from you guys that I think was really useful was kind of tiers. This is top tier, middle tier, long range, kind of lower tier, and set us up for success in that way. But again, this really is meant to be a high-level visioning document, and talking about, professional best practices, so that we as a board have something to say, hey, mall,
Yeah.
we want to make sure there are sidewalks,
Yeah.
or we want to make sure that when you're building things, the sidewalks are wide enough, all sorts of things.
Right. Okay, thank you. So I think that is all we have on our agenda. Does anyone have any new business they want to bring forward at this time? No? Okay.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, six.
I do have some
Oh,
more
wait.
business, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait.
Just a follow-up on that, in the Shaws, that the electric stations, the charging stations on there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We have anything?
We do have an update.
Yes, so we have been going back and forth
We adjourned?
with with EVgo, who's the company that put in the actual chargers. And so it's been communicating with them. It's been, us communicating to them, and then them getting to Albertsons, who is the property owner with Shaw's, and then kind of getting that information back to us. So it's been a bit of a grind to get all that communication through. And so we were provided with a plan, with a rendering that shows, there's going to be a lot of new landscaping. I think it works well with the with the slope of the site. And they kind of have a design that looks good. Our biggest concern was that was submitted by EVgo. And we wanted to make sure that Albertsons, as the property owner who's going to be in charge of all the maintenance for it, was aware that this was, happening, felt okay with this, and was going to give acknowledgement that they are going to also maintain it, make sure that it gets watered, that the landscaping is, done correctly. So within the past, I think 2 days, I think we just got final confirmation that they are okay with the plan as submitted. So they're going to move forward with submitting that to the board. In the meantime, they've agreed that they'll hold a bond with us during the winter time, because we don't want them to plant right now and then just have it die. And that way there's incentive for them, once they can do it in the spring, they'll be able to go out there in the spring, plant it, have it kind of be much more difficult. You can't really see it from Wynn Street. So we've reviewed it. I think and it's going to be a great enhancement to the site. And so, I think that's what took a long time, was getting that communication from EVgo, Shaw's, back to us.
Have we had, on a similar but not exact note, if we had any type of feedback as to if any of our